back to the Mad Spideyverse. I'm Mad Spidey. Thanks again for tuning into my channel. I know I haven't done any pre-recorded videos for a little while. I've done a live here and there, but I thought coming back to the pre-recorded videos, I'd actually do one of the challenges. I've never actually done one of the challenges before, so I've been seeing a lot of people posting, the different challenges around the community at the moment. And I happen to notice, like, one of my favorite ones at the moment is actually the first appearance cover challenge, I suppose you could call it. First appearance challenge, you basically show 10 books that are first appearances. This was actually started by Alex, the comic hoarder. Alex has got an awesome channel. He's been around for quite a while. Got a lot. He's over, I think, 5,000 or 6,000 subs. So he's one of the bigger channels in the community. But he's definitely community orientated. Yeah, he shows a lot of cool stuff, a lot of awesome content. He's got an absolute killer collection. But yeah, if you haven't heard of Alex, please go and definitely go and check out his content. Give him a sub. Give him, thumbs up and comments. He always, even though he's a slightly bigger channel, he always tries to reply to everybody's comments. So that just shows how much of a community member he actually is. But anyway, so this is the first appearance challenge. I did dive through some of my books and, or should I say some of my boxes. It was actually quite hard because my boxes are a bit hard to get to. So I pretty much pulled out, I didn't pull out like 10 of my biggest books. I just pulled out 10, one obviously that I could get to, and two that I know people might possibly want to see. So yes, they are all Marvel books because I only collect Marvel, obviously, as the sign suggests. But I hope you enjoy the video anyway. So I've done it a little bit different. Obviously everybody's like, Mad Spidey's going to show just 10, Spidey first appearances, but I tried to break it up. I tried to do a half and half, or close to half and half. But we'll start from newest to oldest. Now this is not necessarily in dollar value. This is just newest, like release newest to oldest. So anyway, let's get into it so I'm not rambling too much. So first book I've actually owned, I think, pretty much since it actually came out. Like obviously most of my books I bought later because obviously I focus more on older books if I can. But this one I'm pretty sure I bought when it actually first came out. So we actually have from the 90s run of X-Men number 4, which is the first appearance of Omega Red. Now, Omega Red is, I've said this before, I actually wish he'd been, released a lot earlier, maybe in the Silver or the Bronze Age, but he is actually one of my favourite X-Men villains. I don't know what it is about him, but he's just a cool, probably because I'm a Wolverine guy, and he fights, obviously, Wolverine a lot, but, yeah, definitely glad I have this in my collection, because it has jumped in price for not so old a book. So next one is, now this is a Spidey related book, but it's not an actual Spidey book, and I know my good friend Captain Sorrow, this is one of her favourite books as well, is Edge of Spider-Verse, the first appearance of Gwen Stacy. Or should I say Spider-Gwen, sorry. Gwen Stacy, obviously, as a character, was very early. But yeah, the first appearance of Spider-Gwen, or Ghost Spider, whichever you want to call her. I prefer Spider-Gwen. Ghost Spider I think of more as the white suit with the flaming red skull. The flaming skull with the blue flames. I think of him as actually Ghost Spider, because that's what he was originally called. But yeah, very glad. When I was finally scanning my entire collection, I was a little bit worried I didn't actually have this, and I actually have the first print, which is good. So that is Edge of Spider-Verse, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, it is definitely a first print. Edge of Spider-Verse number 2, first appearance of Spider-Gwen. So very glad to have that in my collection. So probably jumping more to the Bronze Age. This is a book that I was able to pick up, I'd say maybe last year. Yes, the show had been rumoured. Yes, the show had, I think, had actually been announced. I don't know whether it might have been a little bit after. So I actively hunted this book, and I did actually want this book. It was on my list to get. So I'm glad that I actually got it. Yes, it is a newsstand. I'm not fussed whether it's direct or newsstand. I'm not one of those sort of people that's like, oh, it's worth more because it's a newsstand. I just want the book because I love the hobby and I love the books. So, without further ado, She-Hulk number 1. So yeah, very, very glad to actually own this book now. I know it has spiked a little bit in price. I don't know whether it's dipped lately or not, but yeah, just super glad that I actually own this book now. I always sort of seem to miss out on all the auctions, you know, either dying seconds or just went over my price range, but yeah, I'm very glad that I actually got first appearance of She-Hulk. Next one is quite a bit of a, what for me personally, I would say would be a bigger book. It would be borderline sort of grail status. I know people throw around that grail status, you know, oh, this is my grail, or it's a grail book and things like that. But for me personally, like, I have a lot of grails, but I would say, yeah, it's in that top tier of books that I wanted, and I was actually able to get one, surprisingly enough, this year. It was rumoured to be in the latest Spider-Man movie, No Way Home, but they didn't actually take that storyline turn, which is, I'm glad, but I still was able to get the book anyway, and it is Silver Surfer number 3, first appearance of Mephisto. So yeah, definitely a book I've wanted for many, many years, never been able to afford it or be able to actually find it over here in Australia, but I'm glad I actually finally own it. So that's definitely a big book for me. So I'm glad I've got that in my collection. The next book, a few people will know what this book is. I actually picked it up literally a week before the episode 1 of the new Disney Plus show came out. Yes, it is Werewolf by Night number 32, the first appearance of Moon Knight. So what I've been calling an absolute fluke. It came with the second appearance, it came with the first appearance of Mr. Knight, it came with I think the first time Moon Knight joined the West Coast Avengers, so it came with a few minor keys, but this was the book that I really wanted. Yes, it's very rough, but I'm a low grade is better than no grade sort of guy. I had chances years and years ago to buy this book, and at the time it was too pricey for me. But yeah, finally able to grab this book, so I'm super happy to actually own this book. Yes, the next books will be all Spidey books. Obviously, most people that know me, trying to go for a full ASM run. I am only, a few books literally off actually getting that run, but they are all the really expensive books, and they are extremely rare to find. Hopefully one day I'll fluke it like I did the Moon Knight book, but you never know what the future can hold. So we'll go, as I've said, I'm going from newest to oldest. That was my TV just turning on, so don't worry about that. Yeah, so from newest to oldest, obviously I'm not going to pick 5 or 6 all sub 10 books, because I know a lot of people will do that. A lot of people will just show their biggest books that they have. These ones are more for what, like me personally, some of the books that I actually love a lot more than some of the other first appearances. But the first one is the first appearance that's actually in this amazing Spider-Man book, is another one of my favourite characters. I was very lucky. I bought this probably about 10 to 15 years ago. It was extreme luck. I went into an antique bookstore, like you used to be able to go in the old days before the internet. Sometimes you'd find some keys just lying around and things like that. But yeah, I didn't think this was possible. I actually bought this book for $5 in Australian money. It's a little bit rough, but I don't care. I have the book, it's in my collection, and it's completing my run. So, without further ado, first appearance of the Punisher, Amazing Spider-Man 129. So yeah, it's definitely one of my favourite books, and super happy that I actually own this. So yeah, Punisher is another one of my favourite characters. So there's that one. The next one is obviously recent hype once again. Another one of my favourite Spidey-based characters. His first appearance is in Amazing Spider-Man 101. So obviously, if you know who that is, you know it's Morbius. Super happy once again. There was a little bit of drama with this book early on. I did actually win one probably about 20 years ago. For some reason it got lost in the thing coming from lost in the mail, lost in the shipping from the US, so I never got my money back for it. Luckily at that time I didn't spend too much money. I never got a refund, unfortunately, but about a year or 2 years after that, I was able to pick up another copy. So yeah, super happy to actually own that in my collection. Now we're going to be diving right down to the lower end. Once again, one of my favourite Spidey villains. A lot of people make fun of him, but he's one of my favourite villains. So I like the idea, the premise of the actual villain and what he's all about. And this is Amazing Spider-Man number 15. Yes, all these books the last couple I'm going to show you are extremely rough, but I have them and I don't care. So, Amazing Spider-Man number 15. First appearance of Kraven the Hunter. So yes, he was supposed to be a bit of a joke character apparently when he was first around, but then slowly became one of Spidey's, main villains, which I absolutely love. Because as I said, I do love the character. We have 2 books left. The next one is actually a little bit of a funny story. Anybody, once again, who actually knows me quite well, knows what I collect and how I collect. They know I am not a slab person. I do not buy slab books unless the books are actually ridiculously cheap regardless of the slab, and I want the book, I will crack it and I'll put the real book in the collection. This actually came in a slab. This was the first ever slab that I actually bought, and I bought it because the book, regardless of the slab, was actually worth a good, it was a good price for here in Australia for me. And pretty much as soon as I got home, it took me about half an hour to actually work out how to break into it, and I actually did. Now it's in my collection. It's Amazing Spider-Man number 14. First appearance of Green Goblin. So, once again, super happy, because this is not a cheap book. Super happy to actually own this in the collection. So, very grateful to have that. My last book is my oldest and lowest number Amazing Spider-Man. Once again, it was just pure opportunity. Was at a convention. Guy actually had this up on the wall behind all the the boxes of cheaper books. I was a couple $100 short, but I really wanted it. So luckily my better half actually came through for me, lent me the couple extra $100 that I needed, and I'm so glad I was actually able to get this book. It is, as I said, this is my lowest Amazing Spider-Man that I own, and it is Amazing Spider-Man number 2. So yeah, as you can see, it is very rough. very old, seen a lot of love, but I don't care. I'll never be able to upgrade it. And I'm not one to upgrade books as long as I have the book and it's complete. You know, even if there's an odd, you know, coupon missing, as long as it doesn't affect the main story, I'm quite happy to own it and to call it a complete book in my collection. So, yes, thank you very much for sharing this journey with me. Now, apparently, you're supposed to tag people that you want to do this challenge. I'm a bit worried on tagging people. They might go, I'm not going to do it. Like, if they do it, great. If they don't do it, that's fine. I would have normally tagged Simple Simon, but he has actually already done the challenge that I know of. I'm only going to tag 3 channels. I don't actually know whether they've done the challenge or not, but I will, I'll tag them anyway, and hopefully I will, they'll actually participate, because I'd love to see what their top 10 would be. First is Legion of Comics. Mark from Legion of Comics. I know he's more of a DC guy, but I'd still love to see 10 of his first appearance books. I know he's got a few books that I definitely personally want, but I reckon he would have an absolute awesome collection. So I'll tag Legion of Comics is number 1. Number 2 is my boy DJ Linx. Once again, he does show a lot of books. He does a lot of unboxings and things like that, and I know he will have an absolute killer personal collection. So I'd love to see what he brings to the table as well. So DJ, if you want to do the challenge, same with Mark, go ahead. If not, then that's all just part of the game. So third, and definitely not least, is my brother Remy Q Studios. Remy Q, once again, he loves old school Marvel, especially Thor. So I know I'd love seeing what he would bring in those top 10. But yeah, Remy, Mark, DJ, if you want to do it, I'd love to see it. If you don't want to do it, that's cool too. Just doing the challenge, following the rules, I suppose you could say. But that's it for this particular video. Once again, thank you for tuning in. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you are not subscribed. Give me a thumbs up if you like the content. And yeah, that's it for today. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and Spidey out.